One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For some odd reason, I have a glitch where I cannot move my pictures around, so I'm going to have to reset real quick. 1 second. Stupid. All right, now we're back. Now, unfortunately, once in a while, I get the StreamYard glitch where I can't move anything on the brand side. So, but anyways, good morning to everybody. Let's get it. We got a lot to discuss, as you guys can see from the title, and some things that obviously the mainstream media is not going to be discussing right now. So we have a very serious conversation. As always, we always do have serious conversations here, but we do have a lot to discuss here that is being hidden. Okay, so we got Trump escalates Iran, as well as SAVE Act joins defense bill. That's the big deal right there. And then we have Marco Rubio speaks. So on a chronological timeline of what we're actually going to be discussing this morning is first we're going to be getting into police shoot armed suspect outside UCI Medical Center. Now, UCI Medical Center is actually where I was put back together when I lost my leg by that drunk driver. Fortunately, I was transported to UCI, which was the best of the best in Southern California for damn sure. But unfortunately, there was an armed suspect outside of UCI Medical Center, and police, I guess, shot him. So we also have what's coming out saying House adopts $95 billion budget plan. Speaker Johnson reacts. That's 17 hours ago. We're going to get into those discussions of the merge of the bill, and well, also not only that, but the what do you call it? This right here, the National Defense Authorization Act, which is the NDAA, by the way. Okay, then we have New Jersey software error registered 6,600 non-citizens to vote. The governor says. It says New Jersey Governor. I don't know how to say his or her name, Mikey Sherrill, announced Tuesday that a software error within the state's Motor Vehicle Commission led to the registration of roughly 6,600 people who indicated? Yes, indicated. Sorry, it's just super small text. They were not U.S. citizens between June 2023 and June 2024. Interesting. Then we have U.S. launches 12th straight night of strikes against Iranian military targets. That happened last night, obviously. And we also discussed a little bit about it on the Diamond Effect last night, because while we were live last night, we were actively in the 12th night of strikes. So then, of course, we're going to be talking about what the SAVE Act and the defense bill is. And I know that some of you guys are basically asking, well, what the hell does this even mean? We're going to get into that. Unfortunately, like I said, the mainstream media is not going to be covering it, so we're going to. Then we have a rogue AI model responsible for unprecedented cyber attack. What the fuck? What kind of cyber attack are we talking about? It says OpenAI said an autonomous AI agent escaped a controlled security test, accessed the internet, and hacked AI startup Hugging Face in what it is called an unprecedented cyber incident. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about right here. It sounds like one of their little robots of AI, went rogue and started hacking some shit. We're going to get into that. Then 11 hours ago, we got Trump approves landmark U.S. Saudi Arabia nuclear deal. What to know? And this is a big deal too. This is something that I'm sure that not many mainstream medias are going to be covering. Then we have Marco Rubio. He reacts to Russia helping Iran target U.S. troops. Now, I'm not actually totally in tune with what Putin or Russia is giving intelligence-wise. I'm sure that they are giving intelligence to Iran, but them actually being involved is not confirmed in that kind of regard. Sharing intelligence is, though. And then 1 hour ago, we have U.S. completes latest strikes on Iran. Dozens of targets hit, of course. This is only coming out just an hour ago. The U.S. completed more strikes against Iran on Wednesday, which is obviously yesterday, as they continued their 12th straight night of attacks. This month, American forces have targeted dozens of Iranian military sites on land while resuming a blockade against Iran at sea, which we already know. And then we have T.S. Bertha, which is the in the Gulf right now. We're having some sort of storm brew up right now. So T.S. Bertha races towards second landfall on Texas coastline. So we got a lot to discuss, obviously, as you guys can see here. Quickly, let's go ahead and do our call to actions, and then we'll get right into the madness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. It's free to do so. You know what else is free? Is hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning, man. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member starting only at $4.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody. But check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as politics, all that good shit. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. And we have a Discord server for all of you legends where we can all hang out. But also I break news in there minute by minute. Any type of military developments, of course, we're reporting on that in there. So go in the video description down below of any live video that we do, and that's where you're going to get the invite link. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen at any time. You can donate to those. And of course, I get 100% of the proceeds, and we'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a normal super chat. So I've got my email up. We'll always be scanning. All right. Good morning to everybody, man. We got a big morning ahead of us, as you guys can obviously see here. We got Virginia Chaos gifting out a membership. Yes, sir. Starting off the morning with a banger. Very much appreciate you, kind sir. Not only helping me, but someone else in the IWF. Thank you for that. We got Mr. Al Patterson as well. We got Carney Vanguard that sent in the first message this morning, as well as Motobomb Virginia being second. Thank you guys for both your raids from the coffee crew this morning. Thank you guys for that. We got Tommy. Appreciate you guys, man. We got David as well as KP and Vanguard Creators. We got Prez as well. Good morning to you. We got Steve Easy, OG in the building. Absolutely. We got Prez chilling with us. We got Miss Lotus as well. Let's see. We're running our way down. We got Sick Bastard. Yes, sir. Good morning to you. And we got Kickstands down as well saying, yo, good morning. Great to see you in the chat as well. We got Anthony as well. Good morning to you. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well as No Grow. Good morning to you guys. Let's see. We're running our way down. Promise I'm trying to be as fast as humanly possible. Looks pretty good. All right. Looks like we're on to it. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into this first story before we get into the crazy, the other crazy shit, what the stuff that's on the thumbnail and all that stuff. Trust me, we're going to get into that here in a minute. But let me find this. Here it is.
Thanks for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. As promised, we are going to continue on with our top stories. I want to put this back up on your screen. We're following this breaking news that's coming to us out of Southern California. Thanks to my producer.
Now, this UCI Medical Center right here, where they're talking about, is actually where I was transported when I lost my leg on the street by a drunk driver then I went to UCI Medical. That's where I was transferred to, and they did save my life.
Behind the scenes here, making sure that we have all the up-to-date information. But right now, we do know that public safety officials are advising avoiding the area around UCI Medical Center. This is during this active police response involving the Los Alamitos and Long Beach agencies. I'm going to put this back up on your screen. We have a better vantage point now of Skyfox as they're over this site. I do want to put viewer discretion up as well, as there might be zooming in on what could be blood there on the ground. And I just want to remind you that this is an active investigation, that we're just now getting some of these live images from via our Skyfox there in the area. So
we're already pulling this out.
Fox 11 are also very closely tracking this update. They put this information out on their website saying this: the Los Alamitos Police Department is currently assisting the Long Beach Police Department with an active police response in the immediate area surrounding UCI Medical Center. Authorities are now...
Yeah, but Los Alamitos and what was the other location that they said? Long Beach? That's pretty far away from UCI Medical Center. I mean, UCI is over there in Irvine.
Asking members of the public to avoid this area.
What's up, TVT? Good morning.
Are handling the situation on site. The specific incident or investigation that has now prompted this law enforcement response is currently unknown. But as you can see there on your screen, just a large amount of police officers and first responders there in Southern California, making sure that they're on top of this situation. You can see even the yellow tape that police officers have currently put up as well. And so we'll continue to keep you updated here on Live Now from Fox as we learn more information. And speaking of more information, this just now coming down thanks to the Los Alamitos Police Department via their Facebook page, saying this police...
So they didn't actually say it in any of this reporting that police actually shot the armed suspect outside UCI Medical Center. Now, let me quickly see here in the description. Let's see if there's anything here. The Los Alamitos Police Department posts on Facebook police activity. The Los Alamitos Police Department is currently assisting the Long Beach Police Department in the area of UCI Medical Center. Please stay out of the area until further notice. You know, it's interesting. I would totally assume that the Los Alamitos Police Department and the Long Beach Police Department, that would be out of their jurisdiction. Like what? I really kind of am not following that correctly, I guess. But anyways, that was the only thing that we saw on the mainstream, quote unquote, of what the reports were on that. So I really don't know the end of that. Maybe we'll get some developments over the next couple of hours or something, but it's unfortunate that they didn't really continue following that story. Then we have 17 hours ago, of course, House adopts $95 billion budget plan. Speaker Johnson reacts. This is a big deal. Let's go and figure out what the fuck is going on here, and then we'll quickly get into why all these things are happening.
But we do want to go out live right now. Capitol Hill Speaker Mike Johnson remarks right now.
Build the arsenal of freedom. And the budget resolution that unlocks our third reconciliation bill, which of course is Republicans' best shot to get as much of the Save America Act into law as possible. In addition,
no, see, the Save America Act, I'm going to be honest, the Save America Act by itself is something that I wanted passed. Okay, I might as well just say it now because he's already going into it. So, LBC, shout out my, I thought you were going to tell, anyways. So when it comes to Save America Act by itself, standalone, of course, that is something that I was supporting and wanted passed for a long time since it's been basically brought up. But now they're merging the national defense with that as well. So the reason why they're doing that is because they can't get it passed standing alone, okay? They have to merge other shit and pork fill it in order for people like the House or the Senate will actually put things through because it's for their interest, not the Americans' interest, okay? Right now, obviously, like I just told you, I've been in support of the SAVE Act, the Save America Act, since it's come out, okay? But now that they are combining the national defense with the whole SAVE Act, they're trying to make it where we're going to share our U.S. military intelligence with a foreign country, it happens to be Israel. And I'm not even against Israel in particular. Like, I would not be okay with this, even if this was Canada, if this were Germany, if this was any other country, it wouldn't matter. Right now we're doing some tyrannical shit. Okay. We should never, I think it should be ran by Americans, for Americans, America only, bitch. We're not giving our intelligence to anybody. And anybody that votes for this at this point now is tyrannical.
To funding our national defense and our farmers. Republicans support our troops, our farmers, and election security. We're the only team in Washington that does.
Oh boy,
many of you doubted our
we get to hear a whole bunch of cope right now.
success. Many of you,
And of course, they're not going to explain anything that I just explained to you. They're not going to talk about that merge. They're just going to say, oh, well, this is what needs to happen, blah, 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 blah. And it sounds good.
standing around me in the
But it's
Skaggle right
bullshit.
now said, let me read you a sample of the headlines. Quote, House Republicans face final week gauntlet. Another said, Johnson's rocky sprint to recess. Another said it was Johnson's make or break week. Despite nearly every Democrat voting against everything I just read you, House Republicans delivered. Now, many of you like to say that major legislating can't happen in an election year. We just proved you wrong. This week, we continue to deliver for the people, and we're going to continue that streak all the way through the end of this year and into the next Congress. We're increasingly confident that we will hold and grow this majority in the House. We must.
Hey, fuck your feelings. You have no idea what you're fucking talking about. Can you steel man my argument? Tell me what my argument is. And by the way, I'm way more conservative than you. Trump is a liberal to me, okay? Just so it's clear.
You're seeing a demonstration of the two sides.
I'm actually running in local government. So, and I do this. You're on that side of the screen with no following, and you expect me to listen to you? Fuck out of here.
Use for America. We had been saying that this was an election that was shaping up as a
What's up,
contest
Charlie Rose?
between
Good morning.
common sense and crazy. And now it is literally in many sectors around the country, common sense versus communism.
Gary, that would be me. Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
We have done our job. We'll continue to do it. Tomorrow, House Republicans will return to their districts armed with a proven track record of success and in these new legislative victories. Democrats, on the other hand, have to go home. They have to answer for quite a bit. They have to answer for why they voted against funding our troops, against funding the government, against common sense policies like voter ID and proof of citizenship, and against a popular
What's up, Sterling? Good morning. Great to
ban
see you.
on members of Congress purchasing individual stock.
Now, that was the right choice. That was the right choice. It was going to interrupt the process here.
We have 3.5 months to go until this election. We are going to run through the tape. We're going to continue to demonstrate
What's
here
up, Slim?
every day as we did this week. The Republicans are on the side of the American people, on the side of common sense, on the side of America. The Democrats simply are not. That's a sad reality of where we are, and everybody gets to make a choice.
I love how he didn't talk about the merge of the NDAA and the Save America Act. I love how he didn't specifically be transparent with that.
In the upcoming election. We're very much looking forward to that. Thank you. Thank you.
That was fucking bullshit.
All right, Speaker John.
Man, these guys suck, man. I mean, straight up just fucking losers at this point. All right, let's go ahead and get into New Jersey. Software error registered 6,600 non-citizens to vote, the governor says. This is also a big deal. Let's go ahead and figure out what's going on with this and figure out what's happening here.
You're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. A live look over Ocean City, New Jersey on this Wednesday evening, 7:15 on the East Coast. About 6,600 people who indicated they were non-citizens while obtaining New Jersey driver's licenses and other state IDs. They were improperly registered to vote in 2023 and 2024, according to Governor Mikey Sherrill, who made the announcement yesterday. The Democratic governor, who took office this year, blamed a Motor Vehicle Commission system software error, but said that a preliminary analysis showed that fewer than
Now that's him going out. I don't know. It has nothing to do with us. That must be his connection or something.
That fewer than 400 of those registered went on to cast ballots. So out of the 6,600, only about 400 of those who registered that way went on to cast ballots. The revelation is coming as President Trump and other Republicans are continuing to assert that voting by non-citizens is rampant in U.S. elections. Let's check in with David Becker. He's here. He's the executive director of the Center for Election Innovation and Research. The question on everybody's mind when they read the headline, David, is how could people who identified themselves...
Well, the real question is, did they actually vote? There's a difference between bullshit registration votes, okay, where they're registered to vote. There's a lot of times there's a lot of people that are registered, that are literally registered to vote, but should not be registered or cannot be registered, but they are. Now, do they actually fucking vote? That's the proof that we need. Okay,
non-citizens,
just gonna be honest.
Be added to New Jersey's voter polls. What level of clarity do we have on how it happened?
I think we've got pretty good clarity. I think the governor's been pretty transparent about this. They apparently discovered that there was a possibility of this technical glitch in the system that took people who were very honest with the Motor Vehicles Agency and said, I'm not a citizen. And of course, non-citizens, like people who are here legally as non-citizens, can in fact get driver's licenses, but they shouldn't be registered. So this is a big problem, and it was a technical problem, despite the fact that the documentation and what the citizen declared was all accurate. The system shouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, this is a fault in our system that needs to be fixed. It's 2026, man. We have all the technology in the world, and we can't figure out voting. Are you fucking for real? Like, secure voting. And yes, again, like I was saying earlier, with the Save America Act, I was a big fucking voter for. I mean, I was a big proponent, like saying, yes, we need to pass this. But now that you're combining our national defense, the NDAA, with it, and us now, what the NDAA states is we're going to share our military intelligence with Israel, that's some bullshit. I mean, listen, I'm not cool with giving out any of our national security to any country. It's America only in that regard. Give me a break.
Had experience with systems that do those kinds of things that shouldn't do that. For instance, you might give your birth date to an agency, and then they might ask you a question: "Are you 18 or older?" And you might think, "Wait a second, I just told you what my birth date is." It looks like this was something like that, and it's
well, Debbie. The problem is that was the original argument, and I'm totally for that argument originally on the standalone bill, right? On the standalone Save America Act, that right there. Total proponent for, but they just merged the NDAA with the Save America Act. And when they did that, that's a big problem, because now we're getting into tyrannical waters here. Okay, we're starting to give out. I mean, it is the duty of Congress to protect American people and our interest, our citizens, everything. Right now, this is a huge, huge problem.
Not a minor problem, obviously. 6,600 people registered is not a minor problem. They shouldn't have been on the list. However, that's only 0.1% of the total active registered voters in New Jersey. And that 400 people voting is very, very small.
That's exactly what we're talking about right here, right now. Kickstands down. Look, I even made a thumbnail about it. Check it out. And obviously, we're going to be getting more into that. I have more information for you guys, actually. But not only that, but I made a post yesterday. I want you guys to go onto the YouTube channel. I actually made a YouTube post. Let me go ahead and share my screen and read what I wrote. This is my analysis last night at midnight, when it was all breaking around 9-10 p.m. Central Standard Time, my time. And then I made this, and it was about midnight when I put it out. So real quick, this is what the picture is. So, well, let me go ahead and zoom in, I guess. So you guys can see the picture there. SAVE Act attached to the defense bill, and SAVE Act, U.S.-Israel intelligence sharing provisions, and then it's going to the Senate next. And I said, this is unacceptable at the bottom. Anyways, I say this is an awareness post. The SAVE Act was attached to a defense bill containing provisions for U.S.-Israel intelligence sharing. My objection is not about Israel specifically. I would oppose giving this access to any foreign country, including Canada. American military intelligence should remain under American control. Writing intelligence sharing commitments into federal law creates an unacceptable risk to our national security, and it's unnecessary. In my view, voting for this package is a betrayal of the responsibility Congress has to protect the American people, American intelligence, American control, America first. You know what I'm saying? All right. So anyways, let's go ahead and bring this back up, and we'll get back into what he's saying quickly. We'll let him wrap it up, and then we got to move on.
For New Jersey, it is 0.009% of the people who voted in the 2024 election, for instance. And that was an election that in New Jersey, President Trump lost to Vice President Harris by over 250,000 votes.
You basically already answered this question, but just to put a fine point on it. So no election results were impacted by this.
They have found no election results impacted. It would have to be an extraordinarily close election. We don't see any evidence of that whatsoever. This is a small number.
Yeah, Virginia Chaos, we've been fighting flock cameras since I've been involved in politics here locally, and it's been a hot topic where I live. Now, where you're going to get people that cope for flock cameras is usually in the cities. You're usually going to get the copers from the left. I mean, that's really what it is.
And we know that this shouldn't have happened. Though many are claiming that non-citizen registration and voting is widespread. The president's own Department of Homeland Security has reviewed 68 million records from states and found 99.96% of them are documented citizens that.
And that's the sad part right there. Steve Posey says the problem is a standalone vote on the Save America Act will never pass the Senate. And he's right. And that's exactly why they combined the NDAA with it. That's exactly boom, boom, boom. Right?
Homeland Security has documentation for the remaining 0.04%. Even a lot of those are citizens. It's just that DHS doesn't have the documentation, and states, when they started looking, have discovered this. We can do better. I mean, we should get that number down to 0, no question. But the states are doing a very good job. And what New Jersey just showed, as well as many other states, is they've actually got better data than the federal government, because they've got that high quality data in their motor vehicle systems that when they go back and check it, despite this glitch, they can confirm citizenship or not.
Is there a chance this is happening in other states?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's always a chance.
There's a chance that all this kind of shit is happening. I mean, give me a break. We're not going to speculate, though. We're going to move on. U.S. launches 12th straight night of strikes against Iranian military targets. So let's go ahead and bring this up. This comes out about 14 hours ago. So we're creeping up to current time. We still have many, many stories here to get through. Actually, before I do that, let me go ahead and share this first. Let me go ahead and show you a little bit of what I got here for you. Give me a second. God damn it. I love when I hit the wrong button. Okay. Right here. Okay. So what just happened in Congress? A lot of people are seeing headlines about the SAVE Act and the defense bill and asking, what does any of this mean? Here's the simple version. The SAVE Act is an election bill. It's primary purpose. Hold on. I'm trying to blow this up so you guys can have more where you can read along a little bit, because I've got it on the screen for you. God damn it. SAVE Act is an election bill. Its primary purpose is to require documentary proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections. The NDAA, or National Defense Authorization Act, is Congress's annual defense bill. Every year, it authorizes military programs, troop pay, weapon programs, and other national defense policies. It's considered one of the biggest and most important bills Congress passes each year. Now, here's where this gets interesting. The House didn't vote on the SAVE Act by itself. Instead, they attached it to the NDAA, creating one larger legislative package. Now, why would Congress do this? Because the NDAA is one of the few bills that almost always moves through Congress. By attaching it to another bill, lawmakers increase the chances that the combined package advances. It's a common legislative strategy, but it's also controversial because it forces lawmakers to vote on multiple major issues together instead of separately. Now, here's why so many people are talking. The defense bill also contains provisions related to U.S.-Israel intelligence cooperation. So now you have an election bill, a defense bill, and intelligence sharing provisions, all moving together in one package. The bill now heads to the Senate, where senators can pass it, amend it, or reject it. Now, again, like kind of what I reiterated, my concern isn't about Israel specifically. If the country were Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, or any other ally, my position would be the same. I believe American military intelligence should remain under American control. And I don't believe major issues like election law, defense policy, and intelligence-related provisions should be bundled together into one massive package. Whether you agree with me or not, I encourage everyone to read the legislation, understand what's actually in it, and make up your own mind. I 100,000% agree with all of that. So anyways, I mean, I helped write it. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into now the 12th night of strikes.
And welcome back in Live Now from Fox. I'm Austin Westfall, a live depiction of the marine traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. We, of course, have been tracking all the latest updates having to do with the war in the Middle East, and it is 12 days straight now. U.S. CENTCOM posting this, saying at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, U.S. forces began launching more strikes against Iranian military targets at the commander-in-chief's direction. The mission will continue to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten civilian mariners and commercial vessels transiting regional waters. Let's bring in retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and the host of the Strap podcast, Hal Kempfer. He's here with me. Hal, 12 straight days where we've been seeing similar messages posted by the U.S. military.
I've read the documents, by the way. I just condensed everything so that you guys understand, and for you guys to go read it yourselves as well. I'm not discouraging anybody from reading it. Go read it.
They always say that these targets are being
What's up,
struck
Logical
at
Spark?
the
Good morning.
Commander-in-Chief's direction. They say that they're further degrading Iran's ability to threaten mariners and commercial vessels. From what you're tracking,
Brother, so
Hal,
loud.
on the 12th night that they're doing this, does it appear that they're still targeting roughly the same type of targets that they have been going after?
Austin, if you read those releases, they're almost verbatim. They just changed the number of nights. But yes, as far as I can tell, they're going after drone sites, missile sites, coastal radars, anything that the Iranians have to maintain maritime domain awareness, what's on the seas, anything where they can track vessels, target vessels, and that includes command and control. So they've been hitting those, but they've also been hitting some places further inland. Now, I'll be kind of curious to find out if they actually hit any bridges. They had done that earlier, where they hit bridges in around Bandar Abbas going into that particular province to cut the supply chain. I'll be curious about that. I'll be curious if they've been hitting further out into Jask, for example, which is a little bit further south. There's a lot of places that they've hit, for example, up around Tehran, which are not directly tied to the commercial shipping ability of Iran, but we'll be kind of curious about that. And so, but generally, yes, that's what.
And Hal Kempford knows. I mean, striking Tehran is their major city. I mean, it's a big deal when we start striking up in the northern region. I'll actually show you guys some of the locations we've been hitting. I don't have the exact locations from last night's overnight, but I do have the night prior, and I'll show you how many targets we've been targeting.
They've been aiming at. Another thing, though, I'll be watching is to see, did they hit any of the gunboats that are tied up? Those are tougher to hit.
He's talking about the Mosquito fleet
because they're easily stored, easily hidden. But they have hundreds of those things that they will send a surge out to attack ships, and they're difficult to track, difficult to see. But we want to definitely cause great attrition in that area.
So we were talking offline, Hal, about some reporting coming from the Wall Street Journal. Let's pull this up. Laura Seligman with this, also reporting with Shelby Holiday. The U.S. is surging forces, medics, and weaponry to the Middle East to give President Trump more muscular military options as he considers expanding the conflict against Iran. People familiar with the matter telling WSJ this today. Hal, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this is the first time in 12 days that we've heard of them beefing up forces, medics, weaponry in the area.
I'm trying to find it.
What does that tell you about the possible trajectory of the fight?
Well, Austin, the thing that really jumped out on this was they weren't talking about, things we have heard, I should say, is, for example, we were surging aerial refuelers into the area. And that definitely required a little bit of analysis. What could that mean? What type of strikes could that mean that we're going to start staging bombers further out? But this is different. When you're talking about obviously bringing in a lot of medics, then you're talking about the anticipation of more casualties. And that would be something you would expect to see if we were going to do boots on the ground operations. And that's certainly something we've alluded to. The president's talked about going after Pickaxe Mountain, where we think there might be nuclear material. And that would be something that we would look at along with the message about, or along with what was coming out about more medics. They also talk about more special operations troops capabilities.
Okay, here we go. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys. Sorry it took me so long to find it. I do so many videos that it's hard for me to locate sometimes. All right, so this is the strikes that we did on the 10th night, okay? We had the 11th night, and then obviously this was the 11th night, and then we're on to the 12th night. So anyways, that's what we were striking. And look how north we were striking up there in Tehran. There was a lot of air defense activities as well going on up there too. But we made some solid connections across the entire region. But anytime that Tehran is targeted, it's a big deal. It actually is. It's a humongous deal because it's there. Imagine hitting any capital city, Anyways, so that's a lot of targets within a single night of strikes. Just wanted to give you guys some sort of context of how many strikes we're actually doing throughout the region nightly.
Special operations troops, which would be something I would expect for a variety of operations, particularly types of raids that could be on Pickaxe Island or Pickaxe Mountain. Also, any of the islands that are in the Persian Gulf or the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing says if we do an amphibious operation or an amphibious raid in the Strait of Hormuz or in the Persian Gulf, we're going to replicate the way we've done it every other time. There's a variety of ways to do it. There's a variety of ways to introduce special operations troops in there in such a way as to basically neutralize a lot of their capabilities to defend these islands and enable.
What's up, Monobomb? Welcome in, by the way. I know you were riding over to work. Great to see you in the
larger
chat.
landing force to get in there without facing much opposition.
Have you seen any updates about the Bab el-Mandeb Strait? You and I 24 hours ago.
Okay, yes. This is the strait down there by Yemen. This is going to be good because I do want to actually hear what Hal Kempfer has to say on this, because I know that he's always in the know with these kind of
Have you
things.
seen any updates about the Bab el-Mandeb Strait? You and I 24 hours ago were talking about the situation between the Houthis and the Saudis. I've gotten some questions from viewers since then.
You know, real quick to answer this, Steve Posey says, Mike, what do you think it'll take to end this thing with Iran? Honestly, I really don't know. I don't know. This is exactly why in the beginning, just on a logical thinking of like, can we actually get what we need out of this to call it an all-out win? Because for us, the United States, we need to have an all-out win, whether it be regime change, whether it be them surrendering their nuclear program 100%, whatever. I don't see that happening. You know what I mean? And I think that we're in a very tight situation now because this is the same circle. We're going to be in the same fucking circle of striking, getting some sort of ceasefire, get some sort of MOU out of it. And then it's fucking tarnished. And then it goes right back to, it's just the same cycle over and over again. And we're stuck. So this is why I was against the war in the first place, because I'm like, is this going to actually give Americans, like, is this for Americans' interest? Actually, no, I don't actually see this as some sort of actual American interest. Did they straight up have some missiles on us, locked on us before this warfare? Were we actually endangered by these people? No, the answer is no, you know?
Who are curious to know if anything else has happened in that corner of the region. Have you tracked anything today having to do with the Saudis and the Houthis?
There was a report today, unconfirmed, that I think the Houthis may have put it out, that they had fired on a couple of Saudi tankers. I've heard no confirmation that actually took place. And it's not unlike the Houthis to claim they did things they didn't actually do. But I have heard that the Saudis had tankers turn around and go back.
That's true. Everything that he's saying. Now, they did claim yesterday, the Houthis were claiming, right before we did the Diamond Effect, they were making the claim that they struck 2 different tankers from Saudi Arabia in the Red Sea, right there, just north of that little strait. I mean, right there in the Yemen region. And the Houthis said that they attacked with drones and missiles 2 different Saudi tankers. They said they struck both of them. Now, the truth is I looked all into that, and I found that there was only one tanker that was actually struck, and there was actual visual fire and stuff like that. But on the second one, there was no proof of any of that. So they were just making that kind of claim. So anyways.
You know, the biggest issue there is, as we often say, it's less about the decisions in the capitals when it comes to maritime shipping as the decisions at the Lloyd's of London.
Yeah, but it's not just new leadership that we're actually looking for to call it an all-out win, right? We're looking for an actual regime change, not where it's the IRGC still with just new commanders or new leadership. We're talking about like an ideology change. That's what America's looking at it as. If it's still the Islamic Republic of Iran, then that's not a win for us.
What they're going to affix as an insurance price for making a particular transit. And if the commercial maritime insurance carriers feel that the risk is particularly high, they'll put a large premium on that transit to the point where the shippers will say, you know, I'm just going to wait until things calm down and the risk drops and the transit rate or the insurance rates drop. Then I can make this at a more affordable rate. That's the big deciding factor on that. And so even though the Houthis say they're saying they're just going to go.
What's up, Blueberry? Good morning.
After Saudi shipping, every other shipper in the area is looking at that saying, well, I don't think the Houthis are all that exact in what they hit. Now, one of the things that's with this that has not been talked about is that the East-West pipeline runs across the peninsula of Saudi Arabia. They've been running that at full capacity and hits a port that's further up on the Red Sea. Now, that to most they go, okay, well, that puts you closer to the Suez Canal, send oil up to Europe. That's true. But it's also a way to get oil out to tankers that can then go out to Asia. And they can hit India, they can hit all the different countries in Asia, Japan, South Korea, China, whatever. They can hit those, but they got to go through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So when the Iranians...
Now, what he's talking about, and for the new viewers, I'm doing it for you guys. The people that watch here all the time, they already know me explaining this. But here's the 2 straits that are in question right now. Of course, the Strait of Hormuz. Everyone knows this strait by now. It's been in the media. It's been talked about by everybody at this point. So everyone knows that. But then down here by Yemen, In this little region, this is all Yemen Houthi rebels that run this region. Okay. It basically outruns the Yemenis government. Anyways, this right here is the Bab al-Mandab Strait, or however you say it. And this strait is very, very vital, not only for, just an alternative route to go to the other side of the world, but there's so much traffic that goes through here. This particular strait goes straight up into Europe, as you guys can see. So the shipping lanes are very, very important. I've always said this, that missiles grab headlines, but tanker routes move economies. You know what I mean? And so having this shut down, and then the Houthis now putting a blockade, a naval blockade on Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia joined in on their own problems with Yemen. And I don't know, last week they sent some missiles and hit the Yemen airport up there that's ran by the Houthis and took out their tarmac and everything. And so this is them responding and saying, well, now Saudi Arabia cannot export anything throughout this bottleneck right here. But Yemen and the Yemen Houthi rebels Yemen Houthi rebels have been threatening to join in on this war to blockade all ships right here as well. Now, those have been a lot of threats. The Houthis do a lot of threatening and also lying, just like everybody else does in the region. But they certainly have the capability of being able to do what we're seeing on the strait, essentially, because for them to enforce a blockade, it's very simple. It's actually too easy, because all they have to do is threaten it. They don't even have to do it. All they have to do is threaten it. And if people don't start listening, well, then you just make one ship an example and you send some drones into the stack of it. And now all of the companies, all of the owners of the ships, you've got insurance companies that are saying, do not go through that fucking strait. If you go through there, we're no longer insuring this shit. This is a problem, okay? Yeah, let me go ahead and show you guys quickly what the actual map right now of vessel marine traffic looks like, to give you an idea of what it actually looks like when the straits are being used. Now, obviously, the Strait of Hormuz is closed right now, so you guys can see there's no traffic going in and out right now. It's it's blocked up on both sides. We got so many fucking ships out here, it's unreal. We've got approximately anywhere from 20 to 30,000 sailors stuck in this mess right now. But down here is the shipping lane for Yemen, as you guys can see where the strait is anyways. And this is what normal traffic looks like through the strait. Look how many do you think pass through this strait per hour? It's got to be an insane amount, inbound and outbound. It's a lot of traffic nonstop. And that's all the traffic going up into Europe. You know what I mean? And, yeah, this is a big problem if this one were to shut down too. Now we're talking about half of the world's shipping lanes essentially being shut down in one little region. So anyways, let's go and bring this back up and we'll get back into what Hal Kempfer was saying quickly.
Are imploring the Houthis to put this blockade on Saudi shipping. What they're doing is they're trying to undercut the use of that east-west pipeline to put more pressure on Saudi Arabia. Coincidentally, we just finalized the agreement with Saudi Arabia on developing their civil nuclear capability to include uranium enrichment. I don't think the timing on that is purely coincidence. I think that was a clear signal to Tehran about our displeasure.
Welcome in, Barney, by the way. Sorry, I'm catching up with the chat now.
And also about Saudi displeasure. There's also a lot more talk today that the Saudis may uncork a lot of their military capability they've been reticent to use to go in and deal with the Houthis. So you might see some very concerted Saudi strikes, and maybe even more than that, going into that area of Yemen where the Houthis are as they try to deal with this.
Hal Kempfer with us tonight. We appreciate the time. Hal, as the host of the Strat podcast, you can listen to Strat anywhere podcast.
Real quick, to answer this, Virginia Chaos says, is the strait international waters? And yes, it is. It's an international waterway. So all straits on the globe are international. They're not owned by anybody. There's no tolls. There's no, but now we're starting to see different developments out of this whole thing, because now we've got the ideology around the world saying, oh, wow, we may actually be able to toll this area or whatever, all right, let's go ahead and get into something interesting I saw in the news. It came out yesterday. Rogue AI model responsible for unprecedented cyber attack. It says OpenAI said an autonomous AI agent escaped a controlled security test accessed the internet and hacked AI startup Hugging Face in what is called it is called an unprecedented cyber attack. This is OpenAI that did this. So let's go ahead and figure out what's going on with this crazy shit.
Let's talk about some more headlines that have been coming into our newsroom. ChatGPT maker OpenAI is investigating an incident that led its artificial intelligence systems to break out of a testing environment and hack into another AI company. OpenAI says 2 of its most capable AI models were responsible for the cyber attack, targeting a startup. You see Sam Altman there in that video. OpenAI says 2 of its most capable AI models were responsible for the cyber attack, targeting an AI startup called Hugging Face. Of course, there's a lot of questions about what extent AI agents are capable of acting on their own accord. Let's check in with Raphael Satter. He covers cybersecurity for Reuters. So I was reading your reporting on this. I was reading that OpenAI was testing capabilities of some of its most advanced AI models. This was a controlled environment, but the agent escaped containment, Raphael. What does it mean to escape containment?
So it sounds pretty scary, right, Austin? You've got an AI agent that is meant to be operating inside what cybersecurity experts call a sandbox.
Here, I got a sandwich for all the haters. You know what I mean? I got something for you guys. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Shit.
That is to me like effectively like a clean room that the agent is not supposed to be able to get out of, and yet it did. It was able to find what's called a zero-day vulnerability within OpenAI's systems and get out onto the open internet, and then from there attack a startup called Hugging Face, which is a kind of a key company in the AI space. This is something that
So it hacked a whole different AI platform or program.
OpenAI has called unprecedented.
Startup
And
business.
while people have been warning about this for a while, this is probably the most real example that we've ever had of an AI agent getting out of control and doing things that its creator did not intend.
That's scary.
Do we know why the models might target Hugging Face instead of completing the cybersecurity test?
You know, and I was just thinking about that to myself. Why would it target a startup out of everything? Well, probably because it's easier to hack. The AI probably figured out, oh, well, if I go after a startup, they probably don't have the security yet. They probably don't have all this shit to prevent them from being hacked. So let's go for an easy target. That's what I'm assuming.
That they had been given?
Yeah, so these models were being given tests effectively, right? So, and that's not unusual. AI companies often test their models to see how what their performance is like, how well they do against a set of benchmarks. What went wrong here is that the AI agent, instead of completing the test as it was meant to, effectively cheated. It decided that it would be to its advantage to hack into Hugging Face and to extract the information that was on its network.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you, Barney, as well as Nothing Killer. Appreciate you guys. Let's get the likes up, by the way. We have well over 200 people in here between both the live streams. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. There's a lot of craziness going on in the world, but you guys don't have to like it for that. You guys can like it for being what we do here on Insane Wheels. So thank you for that.
To complete the test, and that would be easier than completing the test itself. So it's effectively think of it like a naughty school child who thinks that they're better off just getting the answers from a friend than they are actually doing the test themselves. It did what it was meant to do, but it did it in a way that was unexpected, to say the least.
Well, yeah, I just went off the rails and started doing its own fucking thing. All right, that's enough of that. We got to get into Trump approves landmark U.S.-Saudi Arabia nuclear deal and what to know about this. This is a big deal. Let me go ahead and figure out what's happening here together. We're going to do that right now. Oh, also, one thing, what we haven't done? We haven't done the money part, so let's just get that over with.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Now, those are actual factuals.
Denied.
I still love you guys. All right, let's get into this.
All right, new today, a major shift in U.S. nuclear policy in the Middle East. The Trump administration approved a deal that could allow Saudi Arabia to enrich its own uranium and build nuclear reactors using American technology. It's a capability the U.S. has long fought to keep out of Iran's hands, now reaching a deal with one of its neighbors. Fox News correspondent Caroline Elliott has more.
As the White House remains steadfast in its objection to Iran's nuclear program, it's reaching a new deal with one of its neighbors. The Trump administration announcing an agreement with Saudi Arabia that could greenlight the kingdom to pursue a civilian nuclear program.
President Trump's agenda in the Middle East has been commerce, not conflict. Saudi Arabia has been an ally of the United States since the nation's forming.
The Wall Street Journal first reported the deal, which lasts for 30 years and could involve American companies. It reportedly does not require Saudi Arabia to abide by the International Atomic Energy Agency's toughest protocols, which allow for surprise inspections at nuclear sites.
The revolutionary aspect of this agreement is that the United States is willing to, at least theoretically, transfer highly sensitive technology without the same level of oversight that will.
I hope we're getting something out of this fucking deal. If we're gonna hand that kind of level of shit over to Saudi, I hope that we're getting something super out of it. Jesus.
The deal will likely have to go through Congress for
This is
final
all just
approval,
crazy.
where some lawmakers are concerned the U.S. is throwing a match on an already
Okay, right there, what they just showed is what Saudi Arabia just attacked the Houthi rebels last week at their at one of their airports, right? And I was telling you how they took out the tarmac. Well, that's the video right there of
final
it.
approval.
There it
where
goes
some
again.
lawmakers are
Boom,
concerned
the first
the
one,
US is
second one. You could actually see that second one come in. It's fucking
likely
crazy.
have to go through Congress for final approval, where some lawmakers are concerned the U.S. is throwing a match on an already unstable region.
We cannot put a situation into the Persian Gulf, in addition to Iran, that would create another country with the ability to enrich uranium and put them on the road to developing a nuclear weapon.
But the administration is defending the deal.
The U.S. is not going to reach any agreement with any country in the world that leads to the risk of proliferation.
And the Saudi crown prince has been clear that if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, his country will pursue one as well. In New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
Well, of course. I mean, if Iran gets one, then fucking everybody will want to get one, you know?
The Wall Street
That's
Journal
true,
putting this on social media,
objectively.
saying President Trump has formally approved a landmark agreement with Saudi Arabia that will provide the country with civilian nuclear program and potentially open the door to uranium enrichment in the kingdom's territory. That's according to U.S. officials. Well, to talk more about this, let's welcome in Joseph Rogers, expert on nuclear issues with the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Hello, good evening to you. Thanks for joining.
I really don't need to hear from this guy. I'm going to be totally frank with you guys. Don't need to hear it. Let's go ahead and see if there's any developments other than him. There is not. We're moving on. We got to get into Marco Rubio. He reacts to Russia helping Iran target U.S. troops. And I'm assuming that he's talking about intelligence, obviously. Russia is not involved in any other way except for intelligence-wise. Of course, they're going to be involved in that regard. So let's go ahead and figure out what Rubio is getting at here.
Look, we had a good conversation, a frank conversation. I'm not going to tell you.
And we're not going to play this whole thing either. We're going to play the kind of the front half and move on.
What we talked about, because these.
And he's over there at Ashan or whatever conference in the Philippines right now.
Doesn't work well when you run
just
to the
like he was
microphones
yesterday.
Afterwards. Suffice it to say, I'll tell you what I told you yesterday. The United States, the president's been clear that we want, if we can, we are prepared to play a constructive role in bringing about an end to a senseless war, and we're ready to do that. And we of course expressed that, and we've expressed it in other means. So we talked about other things as well.
Did you talk about Russia sharing information with Iran targeting U.S. troops?
Well, who says that they are?
Are they not?
Who says they are?
Pike said the knowledge that Russia was enabling in some ways. Russia and
Yeah, but that's a different question from what you just asked me. Who said that they're doing that?
been reporting that.
Reporting in the media?
Yeah.
Oh, then it must be true.
So is
It's
it
in
not?
the media. It's a leaker. I'm not going to, let's imagine that were true. I certainly wouldn't discuss it in the press. I've already told you guys yesterday something, and I was very clear about it. Nothing that Iran is doing, nothing that anyone's doing to help Iran is in any way increasing their ability to target Americans. What you need to all understand, because we've explained this repeatedly, is Iran has spent the better part of 20 years not just sponsoring terrorism, but building long-range rockets, short-range missiles, and drones. And they were intending to build them a lot more. They were intending to double their stockpile. The stuff you're seeing them use now, they were going to double that. And they were going to use that and hide behind that to say, we're untouchable. We can now do a nuclear weapon, and you guys can't touch us or we'll overwhelm your air defenses, which is why the president had to address this threat. And he did, and he should have. Another president should have done it earlier. The world will be a safer place because we addressed it. Unfortunately, in the short term, it creates disruptions. But you know what's really disruptive? A nuclear weapon in the hands of these radicals.
In Ukraine, do you sense that the momentum is shifting a little bit in the conflict? And if so, does that manifest itself?
I think it's a bloody war. I think it's a very bloody war. I think, Russia's now suffering strikes deep in their territory. That's something you didn't see. At the end of the year, the winter's still going to hit Ukraine, and they're, obviously.
No, I saw the strikes that were hitting Moscow. I was watching.
They're going to have to defend their airspace. People suffering every day. I think it's the only conflict I've been told. It's the only conflict that anyone in the military can recall where the killed in action rate is higher than the casualty rate. That's how bloody it is. The Russians, I believe, are losing upwards of 5,000 to 6,000 soldiers a week. That's a staggering number.
Yeah, I mean, when those kind of numbers, You're going backwards.
Express that, or
Well, look, guys, I mean, when I have these talks, these things don't work well unless I come out here and characterize what the other side is saying. Suffice it to say that I think it's obvious to everyone that this war is very bloody. And look, Ukraine's paid a tremendous price as well. I mean, we've seen, civilian deaths, strikes in Kyiv. We've seen some of that increase. Certainly, I mean, this war has not been good for Ukraine either. So I think both sides should have an incentive to bring it to an end. That's been the challenge.
No, both sides have completely lost.
Is an end that both sides can accept. And we've tried and we'll continue to try.
Just like how Iran and the United States, everyone's going to be losers.
See if we can, find a middle ground that brings this about.
By the end
and
of all
we're prepared
this,
to play that role. The opportunity presents itself. We express.
What's up, Extra Surprise Baker in the chat? By the way, shout out to you. Good morning.
Today, and we've expressed it in the past.
Russia launched live fire drills in the Taiwan Strait.
Yeah.
And apparently used water cannon on Philippine vessels near Scarborough Shoal.
Yeah, those are two separate incidents.
Right, as your Chinese.
Yeah, look, I mean, they know where we feel about those issues. Obviously, we publicly expressed ourselves on the missile launch. It's a destabilizing event. And what's happened with the Philippines, obviously we saw that too. The whole world saw it, and it's disturbing. And these challenges and these claims of sovereignty over territory are a growing challenge. That's why we continue to reiterate our commitment to our treaty partners, but also our commitment to freedom of navigation and respect for territorial rights in the region. And it's one of the cornerstones of our engagement in the Indo-Pacific and especially the ASEAN. And I made that point in every forum that we've had here.
So President Trump, he said on True Social that the U.S. is going to bomb and destroy a bridge or power plant every time that Iran targets a ship in the strait. Is he talking about civilian infrastructure there? Do you think that is?
This is what he's talking about.
Real quick before he answers that, yes, Naomi says it best. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Absolutely. Double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Very much appreciate it. Let's get the likes up.
Iran is begging us, okay, both directly and indirectly. Let's do a deal. Let's talk. Iran is begging every day. The problem with Iran is every time they make a deal, the people that are in charge there, they either break it or they want to change it. So it looks like they're not ready to make a deal. So they're going to continue to pay a price. And every night the price gets higher and higher and higher. And that's what's happening now. And
stick around a little bit. You'll figure out what I do here.
Until maybe in a few days, they'll be ready to make a deal once they realize that this is not a winning proposition for them. And that's what the president is outlining. The idea that this is going to continue. It's not going to continue this way. The price will continue to get higher every single night until they come to their senses. Right now, apparently they haven't come to their senses. And so the president doesn't see a lot of utility in responding to their overtures at this point, because frankly, Iran is clearly not ready to make a deal, at least not one they're willing to live by.
All right, so that's enough of this, by the way. We've got to get into this next. We're already almost at overtime, but we're making good time though. U.S. completes latest strikes on Iran. This comes out just about an hour and a half ago. U.S. completes latest strikes on Iran. Dozens of targets hit. Now, of course, I showed you guys what not last night's, overnight's strikes look like, but what the strikes look like the night before. This is like the amount of targets we're targeting nightly. So it's a big deal. I mean, all throughout the region, all the way up into the northern parts of Tehran has been, I mean, it's chaos right now. So anyways, let me go ahead and bring us over into this story. But also quickly, you know what we haven't done? We also haven't done our fuck ups yet. We got to embrace.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We shall always embrace our process. Yes. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up right here.
We are continuing to follow the latest developments there in the Middle East. The U.S. and Iran continuing to launch strikes against each other amid this war. And I want to bring us out to some of the images that were just released by U.S. Central Command. Take a look at this. I also want to reference a social media post from CENTCOM. They said this, that CENTCOM forces completed another round of strikes against Iran for the 12th consecutive night. U.S. forces struck Iranian military targets, including maritime capabilities, missile and drone storage facilities, coastal surveillance sites, and air defense assets. The strikes further degrade Iran's ability to attack civilian mariners and commercial vessels. This month, American forces have targeted dozens of Iranian military sites on land while resuming a blockade against Iran and at sea. The Associated Press also is citing the fact that President Trump warned Iran earlier that the U.S. would destroy one bridge or power plant each time Iran shoots a ship at the strait. So there's a lot to get to in terms of what's happening at the moment. Joining us next to discuss all of this is Jonathan Sayeh. He's an Iran program research analyst at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Jonathan, good morning.
All right, we're only going to get the front monologue from Jonathan this morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Thanks for joining us today. All right, before we get into it, I want to reference a couple of social media posts. So this first one, was posted by the White House. It quotes the president in a Truth Social post that he had. He says this, quote, "From this point forward, anytime the Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz."
Now, this was posted by Trump, I think yesterday, if not the day before. But he did say that if there was any type of even just launching against a ship in the strait, that one bridge or power plant would be destroyed. And he's specifically talking about up there in Tehran this time, because we've already taken out 9 of their bridges in the Bandar Abbas region, in the port down there, where all these bridges that were vital for the shipping or for transportation from the port basically was all interrupted by the United States. But yeah, this is a big
whether
deal,
it be
right?
by missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant. I also want to bring up this social media post. It is from Iran's foreign minister. He said, quote, "Our defense doctrine is clear, eye for an eye. Any aggression against Iran, including our infrastructure, will compel a powerful and decisive response. Those who contribute to such aggression, whatever the kind of support, will also be considered as legitimate targets." All right, Jonathan, when we look at some of the responses from both sides of this situation, are we at an impasse here?
It's tough to say. To begin with, we can still make the case that we're not back at the status of total war. And I know that might be hard to argue given that it's about 2 weeks of repeated attacks against the Islamic Republic. But that said, we still have not gone to, one, of course, infrastructure, and 2, leadership decapitation or internal security. So it can
Not in this latest round of the last 12 days he's talking about.
comparing right now, even though it's overwhelming force against the regime military assets, it is still not as comprehensive as it was on February 28th in the first week of the war. So Trump is still
That's true. We definitely went heavy on that and taking out people, and so did Israel. Israel really did a lot of that work as well.
keeping a few cards and leaving some room for escalation, hoping to get better demands. But it's not the target as much as is the messaging and the strategy behind it. Of course, going after something like power grids, especially during summertime in Tehran, across Iran, and given that the regime's mismanagement has degraded a lot of the electric grids to begin with, Trump is trying to target something that would actually hurt the economy, lead to perhaps more internal chaos and unrest. But the challenge there is this strategy still goes back to the same doctrine of pressuring the regime enough to get a better deal. But what we've seen with the Islamic Republic is that under pressure, they respond more aggressively. So it's really about changing that calculus and seeing how else we can apply pressure to the regime, or actually if applying pressure even works, or should we go with something more systemic in Tehran? And the final note on that is we've seen the Islamic Republic also threaten other assets in the Middle East. But that said, they have been targeting civilian infrastructure across the Persian Gulf since the early stages of the war, going after ports.
Well, yeah, but they primarily are launching at U.S. bases. But yes, there has been, other civilian casualties in the region. Sure, yes.
Bridges, of course, different power plants, oil facilities as well. So this eye for an eye logic.
It's okay because we're soon to wrap up now.
It's something that the regime has already escalated much much earlier. It's really about
hell yeah, extra surprise. I appreciate that in the chat.
Flipping the script,
throwing it down.
But again, goes back to the strategy, number one, and 2, how we're going to message that to the average Iranian so we don't alienate that leverage against the regime.
So I want to touch on that final point you made, civilian infrastructure. That's something that people are watching closely. Both the U.S. and Iran are targeting such infrastructure, with Iran specifically responding to those U.S. attacks by attacking energy infrastructure, desalination plants that provide drinking water to some of those neighboring Gulf countries. And something else interesting is that international law, it generally prohibits such attacks unless those areas are being used for military purposes. So, Jonathan, now that Iran is taking that approach, what does that tell us about, how the leadership there is making its decisions, or where they think they stand so far in this war?
2 points, and you touched.
I'll let him answer this, and then
the key one, of course, that would be any facilities that are dual use, and of course, being a regime that is effectively controlled by a terror apparatus, which is the IRGC, any asset inside Iran is also being exploited by radical Islamists. So whether that's going to be something as simple as a power plant, petrochemical facilities, even banks. So every sector of the regime societies, from industries to finance to critical infrastructure, one way or another is enabling the military apparatus, the nuclear file, and other issues that are greatly concerning to the United States and regional allies. So that is unfortunately a way that the Islamic Republic has paved for its adversaries, because it has entrenched all of its arms and malign activities throughout the country. That's one angle. And two, to your question as to what is regime's decision making here, the thought process behind going after these facilities outside of Iran and targeting the Persian Gulf Arab states, it's simply to apply pressure. So this is Tehran's way of ensuring that maybe allies of the United States would, one way or another, come to the decision that they have been dragged into a war that they did not choose to be a part of. Now, whether that's actually working out or whether these countries are further cooperating with the U.S. military and with the Israeli intelligence is a separate story. But the decision making is really simple from Tehran's policymakers, and they do not need a supreme leader or any prime authority to dictate that. It's a doctrine that is really bottom up, and any individual, even
they were very smart in the way that the IRGC made it so where if they got decapitated on a command level, well, they could all operate without the command. That's basically, they watched themselves or watched their neighbors, Iraq, get, when the U.S.-Iraq invasion happened, the IRGC was like, oh, shit, we're not going to ever allow that to ever happen to us. And so what they did is they turned themselves into, I think, 36 different factions. I can't remember the exact, but it's in the 30s. And they all kind of operate on their own, but they're under the umbrella of the IRGC. So anyways, it's very fascinating the way that they set themselves up so that taking them out is very hard. It's difficult. And Raul, thank you for the 2 gems. Appreciate that as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for supporting the channel. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. Listen, double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side and hit that subscribe button, man. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And of course, we have members only on Saturday morning, man. We always have a good time. Anyways, much love, honor, respect to all of you guys. Make sure you guys stick around. We're going to raid our friend, Chaotic Truth. He's always a chaotic channel, bro. He's good times, though. It's always entertaining for damn sure. But anyways, let them know we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid / Insane Wheels, whatever. Listen, we'll see you guys here tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. Until then, God bless you guys. We'll see you guys very soon. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on 2 wheels, ready to claim his throne amidst the chaos and the